page, not the creation. Those other things are interesting, but that's to me the most provocative. Now, so I constantly get people trying to challenge that. Okay, Chuck, if this, that, and the other thing you have to do is Christ, what about such and such? Well, one of the ones I get confronted with is, what about the city of refuge? You read the Torah, these quaint laws that are recorded in the Bible, and I maintain that every detail it points to Jesus Christ. Somebody says, well, what about the cities of refuge? Now, to refresh your memory, you may recall that under the laws of Moses that were implemented when Joshua finally captures the land, they implement the things that God told Moses to do, one of which was that each of the 12 tribes inherited some land, and they drew lots, and they all got allocated land. The Levites did not inherit land. The Levites, instead of that, because their inheritance was God, that is the tabernacle, but what they did get is 48 cities, specific cities that were designated for the Levites and so forth. 6 of those cities of the Levites were designated what they call cities of refuge. 3 of them were east of the Jordan, 3 west of the Jordan. Now, what is a city of refuge? It turns out that if you killed somebody under conditions that we would call in our vernacular manslaughter or second-degree murder, if that was the circumstance, see, if you killed somebody, his next of kin would be coming after you to even the score. He was called the avenger of blood. If you were guilty of manslaughter, not premeditated murder, what you did was you fled to one of the 6 cities of refuge. When you got to the city and you could convince the city fathers that it was indeed manslaughter, not intentional, they would give you asylum. And as long as you were in that city, the avenger of blood could not touch you. You were safe. If you left the city, you'd had it. Okay? Now, and that stayed that way until the high priest died. Now, bear in mind, these 6 cities are not in Jerusalem. They're scattered through the land. Down in Jerusalem, there's a temple. There's a high priest, right? Or a tabernacle in the old days. But the point is, you had a high priest. When the high priest died, whenever that was, you, if you were in taking refuge in the city of refuge, you were free to leave the city, and the avenger of blood could not touch you. That's the way that worked. That was their approach to manslaughter. Now, you put this all together from the ancient, the records. You see yourself, well, that's kind of a quaint system. You ask yourself, why did God do that? Romans 15:4 says that whatsoever things are written aforetime were written for our learning, that we through the patience and comfort of the Scriptures might have hope. So everything in there, every one of these weird rules is there for our learning, and I'm going to maintain it somehow points to Jesus Christ. Now, why does it come to mind here? Well, let me first ask you a question. Was the crucifixion of Jesus Christ, was his death on the cross, first or second degree murder? From God's point of view, it was first degree. Remember in Acts, in the sermon of Peter, it was by his predeterminate counsel, etc. God planned this before Adam sinned. He knew this was going to be necessary. So from God's point of view, it's certainly premeditated. But from our point of view, is it first or second degree? Well, remember what Jesus said on the cross. Father, forgive them for they what? They know not what they do. So as a defense counsel, I would say it's second degree, not first. We're guilty of it, but in a second degree sense. Okay, if that's what we're guilty of, what's our procedure? To flee to a city of refuge. Who is our city of refuge? Jesus Christ. For how long? Till the death of the high priest. Who's our high priest? See? So you start putting it together, you say, whoa! You have to think like a rabbi probably, but you get the idea. Well, anyway, I just use that as an example. But moving on, we can talk about the atonement described to the Father in Isaiah 53:6, to the Son in Ephesians 5:2, and of course the Spirit in Hebrews 9:14.
The Trinity, looking at the Old and New Testament revelations of the mystery of the Godhead, 3 persons of one God. Chuck Missler will be back in just a moment with a closing thought. The whole series, The Trinity, which Chuck is doing, is available as a 2-tape set from Koinonia House. If you just happen to tune in today, you like the series, you want to hear more about it, or to play it again so you can learn more deeply what's being taught here. It's available from Koinonia House as a single 2-tape set for $14.95. Comes complete with study notes, and it's called The Trinity. And you can call us right here at 1-800-KHOUSE-1, 1-800-546 8731 to order that. I should point out that our website is khouse.org. As a study aid, you'll find our Blue Letter Bible there, complete with references and concordances and other notes, along with the ability to search the scriptures. And also, Chuck publishes a monthly news journal called The Personal Update. If you're a first-time subscriber, we would invite you to take out a year's free subscription to that simply by calling our toll-free number, 1-800-KHOUSE-1. That's Khouse and the number 1. Chuck, we're going to conclude the series tomorrow here on the Trinity.
Yes, and one of the things we're getting into here, in addition to the very difficult topic of the Trinity, we're also learning some tools. And I think we sometimes talk about microcodes. These are the subtleties of the text or the grammar and those kinds of things in the microcosm, if you will, of the text. But we're also indulging here in some of the examples in what's called a macrocode, a set of concepts that are anticipatory, that reach beyond. And here the City of Refuge, for example, has indications, teachings, if you will, that go far beyond the scope of the immediate context. And in the information science vocabulary, we'd call that a macrocode. And so one of the things we're hoping you take away from this series is not just pondering a little bit the mystery of the Trinity itself, but also to get a feeling for the power of the text that goes far beyond its primary explicit indications in terms of the other insights it yields. And we're going to see that even more tomorrow as we wrap up the series.
All right, and don't forget the series, The Trinity, is available with study notes at 1-800-KHOUSE-1, 1-800-546-8731. Tomorrow, Chuck will pick up again and look at the relationship between the three persons of the Trinity.